What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then just welcome to my channel. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you won't be disappointed unless you don't like the content, and in that case you probably will be. This video, as you can tell by the title, is going to be one of 7 videos that I'm uploading the week of Halloween to tell a true crime story that has inspired a horror film. This is the story of Robert the Doll, who is also Chucky. You're probably like, girl, what? True crime? Does this really count? But I just could not. I don't feel like I could have done this series without doing Chucky and Robert the Doll. I just couldn't. They are legends. They are legendary. I also contemplated not doing it and leaving them out because Better Off Red, who is also a great, fabulous, beautiful, and talented YouTuber. If true crime is your thing, I really strongly, or if makeup is your thing, I just encourage you to check her channel out. I will link it down below. Also her video. She did the Robert the Doll story. So I'm like, I don't want to do it. She just did it. She did such a great job. But like I said, I felt like I couldn't do this. I couldn't do this series without Chucky and Robert. Okay. Shout out to her. Check her out. I'm sure you'll love her. She's great. I won't ramble too much longer. Without further ado, let's just get into the story of Robert the Doll. He's 3 feet tall, haunted, and it's caused a plethora of unfortunate incident. So there are 2 variations of exactly how Robert ended up in the hands of a young boy named Robert Gene Otto, who was an only child of a pretty well-to-do family. The first legend is that a young Bahamian maid created the doll and cursed it and gave it to the boy as retaliation for them just being awful people to her. So there's that. The second is that the young boy's grandfather purchased the doll over in Germany and gifted it to Robert as a gift. Regardless of how he came by it, Robert Gene Otto instantly fell in love with the doll. He took him everywhere with him. He dressed him in his clothes because, he was the size of a small child. So he had this old sailor suit that he had as a baby. Maybe that's why Robert was mad, because it wasn't the cutest outfit and he couldn't take it off of himself. You got me all around town looking stupid in a little sailor outfit. I'd be mad too. Over time, young Robert, the kid, developed what most considered to be a very unhealthy relationship with this doll. He carried it everywhere he went. He spoke about him as if he was a human, like a real person. So when he decided that he was going to name him Robert, after himself, he came downstairs and he told his mother, "Call me Gene," which was his middle name. And the mother was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Because Robert said so." Robert said he wanted to be the only one, okay? He was taking over the name, and the little boy just went with it. He was like, all right, I got a middle name to fall back on, so we good. He loved the doll so much that he built a little room for him in the attic. Robert had everything he needed: a little table, a little chair, toys. Soon after that, strange things started to happen around the house. And little Gene would blame Robert. Things would move, things would break, and he would always say that it was Robert and not himself who had been the cause of these little mishaps. Now, at first, the parents brushed it off, and they were just like, you know what? He just don't want to get his ass whooped, so, But then strange things started to happen that made them second guess, is it Robert? For instance, there was furniture that was overturned one day, and they said that, apparently Gene wasn't strong enough to have done it himself, and he blamed it on Robert. And then the maids of the house and the parents would oftentimes hear 2 voices in Gene's room when he was in there with Robert alone with the door closed. And when they asked who he was talking to, he would say, him and Robert were having a little chit chat. And so they started to be like, maybe something is up. Hell, if it was me, the doll has to go, okay? Because I'm not, Let me tell you something. The minute I heard 2 different voices coming out my child's room, somebody got to go. So he kept Robert up in his little room in the attic, right? And there was a window up there that people outside could see him through. They would claim to see him moving around, watching them. He had these little beady black eyes. How do you even tell those eyes are watching you? How? Because if the eyes got whites, then you can see them moving. But honey, his eyes were just little black beads. So how can you tell those are watching? But nevertheless, the neighbors would complain, or they would claim that Robert would peer through the window and just watch them walk by. Maybe his head was turning. Maybe that's what it was. But they said specifically in what I researched and read that his eyes will follow them. It's like, girl, are you sure? Or are you paranoid? What is it? This was really real for the family. People who visited the home, family, friends, random people who came over for various reasons would complain, or they would claim that they saw Robert blink, that they saw him change expressions. And it was to the point where it was like really making their family friends uncomfortable. Like, they did not like to be in the company of Robert. Eventually, the family decides, you know what, let's just go to France. But they didn't want to take Robert because he was a mess. They put him in a box, nailed it shut, and left it in the family home in the attic. And they went off to France, where Gene grew up, got married, and eventually returned with his wife and to the family home, where Robert was waiting in the attic. So Gene unboxes Robert and, oddly, as an adult, kind of picks up where he left off. He starts to carry the doll around again and set him at the dinner table and stuff. And, you know, Anne was weirded out by it. She was like, sir. She demanded that Gene put that doll away. So he put him back into the attic and placed him up in a chair at the window so he can watch passerbyers walk around. Apparently that's what he did. But Gene would still tiptoe up there and bring him down from time to time. One day in particular, a plumber was called to the house to do some work that plumbers do. No one was at the house but the plumber. I don't know where they do that at, because you coming to fix anything in my house, I'm gonna be there. I don't want nobody in my home, especially not a stranger that I don't know. But anyway, the plumber was there alone, and then he reported hearing child's laughter, and he was looking around. Like, while he's looking around, he notices that Robert the doll has moved from one side of the room to the other, seemingly by himself. No help, nobody there to, pick him up and move him. And what's even more odd than that, the plumber claimed that the toys that were in Robert's lap originally have been strewn across the floor as if they've been thrown by Robert. Now, this is a whole new set of neighbors because, like I said, Robert grew up, went to France, came back, and these are not the same people who are claiming that Robert the doll was harassing them through the window or moving and doing all this weird stuff as before. This is a whole new set of neighbors who have the same claims, that when Robert was upstairs, he would peer at them through the window and his little black beady eyes would follow them, and that he would move from one side of the attic to the other. And people were so uncomfortable that they began avoiding walking down the walkway in front of the house. Like, they would literally go the long way home, and reportedly would hear footsteps in the attic. Gene was such a weirdo. One day he decided that Robert needed to have dinner with them, placed him at the dinner table with his own little plate and fork set, and he said to Anne that Robert was the man of the house, so he needed to be served first. At that point, Anne was like, you know what? Get your doll away from the fucking table. Okay, she didn't say it like that, but she demanded that he just be banished to the attic. Like, she was over that, which I would have left his crazy ass, but she didn't leave. She was just like, put him in the attic. I don't want to see him no more. He was not happy about being banished to the attic. And when Gene wanted to see his beloved friend Robert, he would have to just go up to the attic and spend time with him. He was not allowed back down the stairs. Anne said that during his trips up to the attic to visit Robert, she, just like the old maids used to say, and his parents, she too would hear two different voices. She would hear Gene laughing hysterically, and when she asked what he was laughing at, he said, at Robert's jokes. Sir, excuse me? My sister's dog sounds like a fucking Yeti. I don't know if you can hear him. Now, apparently Anne never got tired of Gene because she never left her husband. He died in 1974, and she decided, you know what? Fuck this house. She sold it to a woman by the name of Myrtle Reuter and decided she was going back to France. I guess stuff over here in the U.S. was too weird for her. I don't blame you, my girl. I would have gone too. Let me tell you why Anne ain't shit. Because along with the home came a lot of its, contents. Robert the doll being one. Girl, you gonna leave this woman with this doll? I would have left his ass too. I ain't gonna lie. See? Look at me. They say you're cursed when you talk about him bad. You, Robert. I don't care. Bring it. Anywho. Oh, I'm sorry, Robert. I'm just kidding. So for 20 whole years, she lived with Robert in the house with her. Now with Myrtle, he also moved about the house. She had a lot of the same complaints that, you know, she would hear child's laughter. He would move about the house. Things would be thrown. Things would be broken in the house. And so she finally decided enough was enough and donated Robert to a museum in Key West, Florida, citing the doll was haunted and she just was done. Which I would have been done long ago, but I'm not Myrtle and she ain't me. The museum took the doll thinking, you know, this crazy old lady is just exaggerating, but he looks creepy AF, so we'll put him on display. They put him in a glass cage, and then weird things started happening at the museum. Since he has arrived, there have been cameras that have malfunctioned because they have been trying to catch a glimpse of him moving, but those cameras that go in that direction a lot of times misfunction. They stop working. Also, there have been reports that electronic devices that get near him go haywire. Okay, Robert ain't trying to be on nobody's Snapchat. No, he is rarely removed from his case. People visit him daily. Like, he gets a lot of traffic. And the thing is, it's said that if you disrespect Robert, if you talk badly about Gene and his presence, if you take a photo of him without asking permission, that bad luck will follow you. Bad things will happen to you. It is people that have come to the museum to visit him that have not believed the story and have been like, you know what, this is some bullshit, or been like, oh, that's an ugly motherfucker, like anything of that nature. There are people who have visited Robert and have disrespected him in some kind of way. I don't know, calling him ugly, saying they don't believe it, or whatever the case may be. They have reported to the museum that they have experienced bad luck, broken bones, car accidents, divorces, all kind of weird, crazy stuff. And the legend is that the only way to remove the bad luck and the curse is to ask Robert for forgiveness. I guess he's forgiven. I don't know. Like, when you ask for forgiveness, are you automatically forgiven? But apparently and allegedly, when they write the letter asking for forgiveness, everything is right with the world. He receives on average 1 to 3 letters per day, every day, 365 days a year, apologizing, asking for forgiveness. And my thing is this: what if I go and Robert's having a bad day and he don't want to be photographed, right? Like, how do I know that I have gotten permission from Robert to take this picture? Like, am I to assume that if I ask first, it's always a yes? What if it's a no? Like, he's just sitting there. What's the difference between this and this? Like, how do I know which one is a yes, which one is a no? No, I ain't gonna lie. The story did kind of spook me a little bit. I thought it was ridiculous. Every time I say that, I feel like I should just go and start on this letter to Robert. But my camera just stopped filming. It would not resume on the same SD card, so I had to go get a different SD card. And I can't lie, when I was tiptoeing down the hallway, that little bear that, you know, Blue and Poppy like to hump on, I was afraid that girl was gonna be sitting up on my couch looking like Robert sent me. I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of scared. It was kind of a spooky feel in my house. Maybe I should go and get started on my letter to Robert, because I ain't got time. I don't have time. Nevertheless, that is it for this video and this story. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not. Share with a friend. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you heard the story of Robert the doll before, what do you think about Robert the doll? Like, what you think? You think this little voodoo doll is really out here causing all these misfortunes? What? If Robert was your child's doll, what would you do? If Robert was my child's doll, Robert would have been dumped in a landfill, my girl. And that's just true tea. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one tomorrow.